Welcome, Amanda here. If you're just stopping by because you want to learn how to make an easel card, great. If you are participating in our August monthly club card, here are some extra supplies that you'll need to add to the bundle that I sent in the mail. If you want to join us in our club card creations, you can go to my website, craftingwithamanda.com, and there is a link for, I think, kits and support, and if you go in there, it talks to you all about the different kits and the prices and that I mail them. So I'm starting out, I'm going to show you how to shape your daisies, and I'm just going to give you a couple different ways you can do that. I do have a flower shaping video series, and I'll put the link in the description, but I'll also put it up here in the video in the upper right corner. So if you want to check that out, you can. And I'm just showing that you can use the dry embossing stylus to kind of curl the petals on a foam pad. You glue the two layers together. On the center of the daisy, I just crimp the outside edge, kind of just curling it over just enough to hide the pop dot that you put in the center. And then the second way that you can do this is with a bone folder or a scoring tool. And again, you can see here how I'm just crimping the edge, just rounding over just a little bit of the center so that it will hide the pop dot when you turn that over and put it on the flower. So this method, you glue it when it's flat still, and then you take a bone folder and kind of press it into the foam, or you can take a scoring tool like I have here, or your bone folder, and you kind of pull it like you would curling Christmas ribbon. The one with when you curl it, the petal, the two layers kind of curl together, so there's not as much separation. They don't look as lifelike to me, so you just separate those. And then I'm showing on the pink flowers, they don't come across in the video that well, but I just ran them through a embossing folder to give them a little texture. So I'm going to walk you through creating one easel card, and then I will show you at the end all 3 easel cards that I made with the stuff that I sent you, other than I did have extra daisies in my stash so that I could make that last card. I'm taking ballerina ink and I'm just inking around the edges. And somehow I missed showing you, I don't know where the footage went, I apologize, how to fold your cards. So your first card base for the stand-up card, where it'll be taller, is 4 1/4 wide by 8 1/2. And all you do is you fold that in half, or you score it at 4 1/4, and then fold it in half again, or score at 2 1/8. So you can make this card any size you want. Basically, you just fold it in half again, and your front panel, is the same size as half of your card base. So in this case, your front panel is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And that's actually the size of all of the cards that I'm doing. Just one of them has a landscape orientation versus the portrait orientation I'm doing on this one. So I cut the frame out of the ballerina pink cardstock that I sent, and I inked the edges of that, and then I also inked the edges of the pattern paper, and I chose to use the side that had the blue and yellow and pink and all the different squares on it. And I have this little tiny hello, and then the yellow that I sent with is going to be kind of a band along the front. It just helps pop the yellow and tie in especially the center of the pink daisies. I did add some gold thread, so I just wrap that around my fingers 3 times, and then I take just a small piece of a glue dot. I don't have any of the small glue dots, so I just cut the bigger glue dots apart. And the thread had gotten twisted, so I just needed to kind of straighten it out a little bit. And then I wrap the glue dot around the ends, and then I use my piercing tool to pull it off. And I like doing that because using the piercing tool, then after I apply the daisies, I can kind of sneak it in and under and get it placed exactly where I want, and then fiddle with it a little bit. I did send you one leaf, and I cut that into 2 parts and put one on one flower and one on the other, and then the other flower didn't have a leaf. And I just had those lying around extra, so that's why those were added to the kit. And this is, you just glue the bottom of that card front, because that's all you're doing is creating a card front and putting it on your special fold base. But you only glue it on the bottom part of the flap, and then it opens right up. So this one says, hello, a little hello to brighten your day. And then here, I guess here's where I'm going to show you how to do the folds. So you fold it in half and half again, and that's your stand-up card. But then if you want it to be a landscape fold, not a portrait, you go ahead and do it a little differently. So again, just fold it in half, and it's like a tent fold, and then you fold that in half again, and this way it's going to be a landscape versus a portrait. And on the portrait cards, your card base is still the same. It's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. It's just standing up. Oh, I guess I got these clips out of order. I apologize. So I'm showing you on the base mechanism. To get it to stand up, you actually have to have some sort of stopper to hold the easel part up, the bottom of the card, so it doesn't slide open, or closed, I should say. So I'm just pop dotting up this blue card, and I just use the foam that comes with the, oh, I can't think of the word, the shaker cards. So that's how the mechanism works. And now you're seeing how I'm kind of looking at what I want to do, and I'm getting some ideas. And this is where I show you how I cut the leaf apart into 2 sections. And it doesn't matter on that little section that there's openings, because that's going to be glued behind the flower and you're not going to see it anyhow. So here we go, show you how to glue it. I apologize for getting my clips out of order. Just kind of one of those days, I guess. It was the first day of school for our youngest, and he had a great time, but it's a nightmare for traffic and getting to the kids, so I had to make sure to go over early and get a spot where I could meet him, and he knew where I would be. So here I'm putting a frame on the pink cardstock, just like I said that I would. And if you need to, you can jump back to see how the rest of this gets assembled. But it's pretty straightforward. It's just inking the edges, layering them all together, adding the yellow strip along the front, putting your daisies on, and then you're set to go. And what I did here is I actually cut it so I end up with 3 of the square wide by 4 squares tall. It just cut perfectly, I think, to go on this card front. So that works really well. And on one of the other cards, I actually cut the individual squares out and also cut individual squares of the pink, and you'll see that later as well. So this is my sentiment bag that I have, and I just stamp these when I need to be doing work, but mentally I'm just not there. And I want this a little hello to brighten your day, so I'm going to go ahead and reposition this blue holding strip, and because it has foam type on it, I'm using my piercing tool to get right up underneath there. I'm inking the edges in yellow again, just to kind of bring the yellow from the daisies and from the strips to the front, because it's very pink dominant, and I wanted to have some yellow just to kind of give it some balance. And I need to rub the glue off from the bottom of those foam where I removed it. So there's the first card and how it stands up as an easel. Now this is the one that's landscape oriented, and I cut all the squares out, and you should have enough supplies to do that. And then with all the leftover supplies, I made this last card, but I did add those daisies to it. So I hope you have a great night. If you haven't subscribed, I would love you to do that. It just helps me out. And here's another video you might be interested in. Have a blessed day.